I'll never forget that day. I was sitting in my office, a cheap little rat hole which suited the work I did. There was a knock on the door. She entered. A real classy dame with eyes the color of blue gardenias. I knew she was trouble from the moment I laid eyes on her. She was the kind of woman who doesn't care how a guy makes a living, just how he makes love. Once I start to make a fool of myself, there's very little that can stop me. You know the rest. From that moment, I did not use my head, except to think about her. What can I do for you, lady?
I've just returned from Shanghai 2 days ago. When I arrived home, my husband met me at the door. And when I tried to embrace him, he said, "Don't kiss me. I'm deadly." Then he collapsed. I called an ambulance. We went to the hospital, but he was DOA, poisoned. The big sleep.
You better have a seat, angel face.
I need a private detective. A very, very private detective. Bang, bang, whoa. Quick, bang, whoa. Will you help me? Will you take my case?
I don't speak much Chinese, but to me, $1 is $1 in any language. Looks like you could use a drink, sweetheart.
Yes, please. I feel like I'm caught in a crossfire. It's a little claustrophobic in here. All the vertical shadows from those Venetian blinds. So German, expressionistic.
You're an artist.
No, an art dealer.
What kind of art do you do?
Ceramic birds. That's why I was in Shanghai, to buy a sculpture of a falcon from Malta.
That was lucky.
You need more than luck in Shanghai.
No, I mean it was lucky you were out of the country when your husband was poisoned. You have an alibi. If I'd known where things would end, I'd never let anything start. If I was in my right mind, that is. But once I'd seen her, I was not in my right mind for some time. You know the rest. Some people can smell danger. Not me. And your name is?
Laura.
Laura?
Just Laura for now.
And your address?
Just put down Sunset Boulevard. Do you think my husband was poisoned by a killer?
That's why they call it murder, my sweet.
I mean, I need to find out if the killer was someone I know.
What does it matter if you know him?
Double indemnity. If it wasn't an accident and if it was murder, the murder has to be committed by someone other than and not in collusion with the beneficiary of the policy. Or double indemnity doesn't apply.
And did you collude with the murderer?
No. That's why I need to know who the murderer is and make sure there is no way it could be construed I was in collusion with him or her.
Her?
You see, the next morning, the postman rang twice. I answered the door, and he handed me a letter. You need to see the letter.
I can't go through with it. Signed, Gilda. And who is this Gilda?
There never was a woman like Gilda.
What do you mean?
I met her at the beauty salon, and we got to talking, and I may have mentioned that I hated my husband. And she said she did too.
Hated your husband?
No, hated her husband. And we talked some more, and she said, what if I killed her husband and she killed my husband? No one would ever figure it out. We were just strangers under the hairdryer.
Did you kill your husband?
No, I went to Shanghai. I was going to do it when I got back, but now, if she didn't kill my husband, then I don't have to kill her husband. But then, who killed my husband? And do I know him or her? And could anyone say I colluded? Can I still get my double indemnity payout?
Hey, sweetheart, you still conspired to commit murder.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything except how much I hated him. Don't you believe me?
Baby, I don't care.
Do I sense a fatalistic tone of doomed nostalgia? A mood of temps perdu? an irretrievable past, a predetermined fate, an all-enveloping hopelessness.
Do all rich women play games like this?
How do you know I'm rich?
Well, baby, you ain't exactly some pickup on South Street.
It's raining.
Strange weather. Rain's unusual for LA.
But the streets are so photogenic when they're wet. Plus, we could use the rain after that big heat last week. It exhausted me. Have you ever been to Shanghai?
I've been a lot of places.
Which one did you like best?
This one right here.
I bet you say that to all the places.
Let's take a little detour here. Now, you admit that you colluded with Gilda, but if Gilda didn't murder your husband, you want to know who did so you could cover your tracks in case you know him.
Or her?
In case the police suspect that you colluded with him or her, and then you couldn't collect on the double indemnity policy. Did you murder your husband?
What would you do if I didn't tell you? Would you do something wild and unpredictable?
I might. You're a real force of evil, lady.
Nope. Just a touch of evil.
Sorry. Wrong number, sweetheart. Why did you kill your husband?
Why do you think I was the one who killed my husband?
Come on, sweetheart. Your story's like Swiss cheese. It's full of holes.
Suppose I were to say I had to kill him.
Humor me, sweetheart.
My husband had hired a detective to watch me. He wanted to fix it so I'd never be able to divorce him. I haven't a cent. He wanted to cut me off without a dime.
All women are wonders because they reduce all men to the obvious.
You're falling for me, aren't you? Do you fall in love with all of your clients?
Only the ones in skirts.
Suppose I say you can't prove a thing.
First, your alibi won't stick. You've never been to Shanghai. You asked me in Mandarin to please help you. King Bang Wu? The Hu dialect is spoken in the city of Shanghai, not Mandarin. And Mandarin's not intelligible by those speaking the Hu dialect. In other words, baby, Mandarin's not spoken in Shanghai. In Shanghai, they speak Shanghainese.
How do you know that?
Anyone who lives as close to Chinatown knows that. Besides, you said the big heat last week exhausted you. You couldn't have gotten to Shanghai and back since we had the big heat.
Suppose I say that still doesn't prove murder.
Without an alibi? And with a double indemnity clause? The cops are going to be looking at you very, very carefully.
Suppose I say I've fallen for you. We could come to a dead reckoning here. You make sure that when the cops look very, very carefully at me, they don't find anything. Perhaps you could set up a third man. I collect on the policy, and we head into the sunrise. Then you see, we're both rotten.
Only you're a little more rotten. What about the letter? Where's Gilda? Where's Gilda now?
Gilda gambles as recklessly as she lives. I knew I had to do something. Late last night, I told her to meet me on Pier 13. She was cornered, spellbound on making me pay for her silence. I always carry a gun in my purse, you know, night in the city. I took it out just to frighten her away, and there was a clash. It was night, and the gun went off, and I ran away.
Did you intentionally shoot her?
No.
Are you sure?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Then what did you do?
I was in such a lonely place, I didn't know what to do. I thought I was shockproof, but I panicked. Ran through the streets. Ran down Scarlet Street and up Midnight Alley. I have a fear of the night. Why don't you try and understand? Gilda was supposed to take care of my husband, but she lost her silly head. After that, I knew I couldn't trust her. She had to be shot.
So you admit you shot her? It was your fault.
You
into the sunrise. You and me.
We could live by night. We could have many lost weekends.
But you poisoned your husband. Turn yourself in. You better kiss tomorrow goodbye, sweetheart. This is where the sidewalk ends.
But I've fallen in love with you. Doesn't that count for something?
I hope they don't hang you, precious, by that sweet neck. Yes, Angel, I'm going to send you over. Chances are you'll get off with life. That means if you're a good girl, you'll be out in 20 years. I'll be waiting for you. And if they hang you, I'll always remember you. Hey, Harry, it's me. You had a homicide last night. A woman on Pier 13, most likely a redhead. Yep, named Gilda something or other. Yeah, I thought so. I think Papa's got it figured out. Figured out and wrapped with tissue paper and pink ribbons on it. I got the angel face right here who confessed to it. Also copped to poisoning that DOA you got a county general 2 nights ago. Yeah, cherchez la femme. Yeah, right here, waiting for your arrival.
What about a long goodbye? Wouldn't you like a long goodbye?
The best goodbyes are short. Adieu.
Give my love to the sunrise.
I never make up my mind about anything until it's over and done with. Because it looks like one thing, and right before your eyes, it turns into another thing. Everybody's somebody's fool. The only way to stay out of trouble is to grow old, so I guess I'll concentrate on that. Maybe I'll live so long that I'll forget her. Maybe I'll die trying. You know the rest.